Hello, fellow rosarians. Thank you for joining me. It is cold, it's 30 degrees, but it's a great time to get out in the yard and start taking care of that winter prep. And so we've got 120 days or so until spring. It's going to be here before you know it. But what I love about this time of the year is you get a chance to really get on top of it. Sometimes during the season, we're in the hubbub of it and we get a little bit behind. So now is a time, you've got 120 days to take care of everything on your checklist. So let's prioritize the things that really should be done and the things that you can take a little bit longer. It's a great time to compost because if you're composting your beds, you'll have time for it to break down over the winter and nourish your soil. If you're doing a new bed, it's a great time to put the compost down on that section. And what I do is, in fact, I think you can see it. You see this back here. First, I put the tarp down to suffocate the grass. And then after, I don't know if it was 2 months, I pulled back the tarp and I put compost down and then recovered the tarp over it so that it would just kind of stay in place over winter and continue to do its job and break down that soil. And so it really helps if you have clay soil, and it helps to improve. Fun fact, did you know that mushroom compost is not mushroom? I found that out because I called for a delivery and I thought, oh, I'm removing animal products from my garden. This is awesome. Send me that mushroom compost. And when it arrived, it sure smelled like cow. And so I asked the guy, I said, wait, I thought it was mushroom compost. And he said, it is. What they do is they let the mushrooms grow in the compost. They harvest the mushrooms, and then you're left with this byproduct of it's still animal manure. So fun fact. So what I have found that I really, really, really like is leaf grow. And leaf grow is made by the state of Maryland. And I'm thinking that every state must have something similar. And so it is a compost that is high in humus, and it really improves the soil, breaks down the clay. And when you're using it, it feels so good. It just feels like the perfect soil. It doesn't smell. It's beautiful. It's a dark color. Look for something similar to leaf grow. Start improving your beds. Work on that over the winter. And then after that, the next high important thing that you need to do is let's get rid of any borers that you have. And I've showed you videos of what that borer hole looks like. I'll pop a picture up here. So as you see those during the winter, it's important to use the sealer because your bugs are going to keep on looking for a nice warm place to be over the winter. And if it eventually makes it to the crown, it could really hurt the rose. So you want to cut out any borers, seal them. And borers really like a fresh cut. So in the event that we're cutting down the height, which we are, anything that is pencil size or close to it or bigger, please make sure that you use a sealer on it. Remember that we're going to keep height on these. We want them just to be about waist high so that the winds won't break them, but it allows you to have that extra growth in the event that we have to anticipate that during winter there could be winter damage, and it's usually about a foot or so that could be damaged. It might not happen, which is great, but we give it that leeway by leaving a little bit of extra height, and then we come back in the spring and we take it all the way down right before it starts flushing to that 12 inches or 16 inches or so. Do I defoliate? Yes, I typically defoliate my roses because I don't want a place for bugs to rest. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to pull all of the leaves off of the shrub. It takes off all the black spots. Be looking for any dead wood. Now that you can really get in here and look at these roses, look at my silly dog. That's how I feel when I'm out here. So now that you can really see into the rose, you'll be able to tell what is definitely dead and go ahead and cut it out so that it makes it easier for you in the spring. So I know that our inclination would be when you're looking at a rose that we are going to take care of any canes that look dead. But you guys, this is Othello. And the entire shrub, although the canes are starting to turn a darker color for the winter, it's alive. So I want you to be really careful about cutting back anything during this time of the season when it looks like it may be dying. You can even see here it's got a red bud that wants to be propagated, but the canes are just darker. So be really careful about cutting back anything right now that you're not absolutely 100% certain that it is dead. Just wait till the spring, there's no harm. I'm sure that you're thinking about Dormant oil. Mine's still in the plastic because I don't plan on using it yet. But I like the Bonide All Season Dormant, and we're going to do this right before it breaks dormancy. So like February. So be looking for a good deal now because you're going to need it, you know, in 100 days or so. So this will suffocate any bugs that are wintering over on your roses so that when they come out in spring and they'll have a fresh start. But don't do this now, just take off the leaves. So we're going to continue to blow the beds and get everything all nice and clean, and we'll get rid of any leaves that have fallen into the soil. Any roses or plants that have outgrown their area, start thinking about how you want to move them. Where do they want to go? But we're going to be waiting until they're dormant. And I know that you're saying, how do I know when they're dormant? Well, how we know is because we are taking off all the leaves on these, and typically they would flush back with new leaves after about 2 weeks. So when you see that you've pulled off the leaves, 2 weeks have gone by, 3 weeks have gone by, and they haven't flushed back, go ahead and safely move them in the event that it's a modern shrub and it's not going to go dormant. In that case, you just have to make the decision. You know, you are the head rosarian in your garden and say, it has to move. This is the best it's going to get. And so typically I would wait until December, you know, around the holidays, because my soil isn't frozen yet. So decide when it is that you can wait last minute before it starts to freeze the soil, and then go ahead and move them. And that will reduce the amount of shock that the plant goes through if you wait as long as possible into the winter. Make sure that you are protecting your standards. Remember, I did a video where I showed you I'm using a pool noodle. Make sure that you are getting those standard trunks covered because they're just delicate and they're a little bit susceptible to the elements. So I hope that you are enjoying thinking about a little bit of a rest during the winter and planning for how amazing next year is going to be. So thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.